your TV library. Today we're going to be looking at the story of a physician, James Lind, and about his work on the disease scurvy. James Lind was the first to carry out a clinically controlled test on the disease scurvy, and in 1753 he published his findings. Although this work was ignored by the medical world, he still managed to conjure up a document called the Treatise of Scurvy, or the Treaty of Scurvy. Scurvy is one of the oldest known diseases to affect sailors. The oldest reports of the disease dated back to antiquity, in Egypt. It was well known that sailors got sick whilst on board the trading ships, but nobody understood why. In order to survive whilst at sea, ships would carry large amounts of sweeback and brine meat on board, as they were suitable to store for long periods of time. These supplements contained enough energy to keep the sailors working through the day, and they could even be eaten with fish and cheese when the opportunity arose. But obviously supplements like fish and cheese were prone to mould very quickly. Therefore, a substitute was needed. After a long time at sea, it was not uncommon that men would become sick, and it was not until the Scottish physician James Lind came along that a cure was found. Let's go back in time to a cloudy May morning in 1747, where you can see the linear HMS Salisbury with its huge sails sailing at full speed across the Gulf of Biscay. The great Captain George Egham is standing on the bridge. Whilst he stood there reminiscing, a loud creak on the floorboards jolted the captain from his daydream. It was one of the stewards from his crew. His expression was fraught with questions that needed answers. "Captain, the doctor wants to see you." "Why, I'm not sick. I'm as strong as an ox." "Of course, my captain, I would never say anything of the contrary, only—" But he needed no further explanation. As a young, fair-haired naval surgeon, James Lind approached him on the deck. The captain became concerned. "Dear God, please do not tell me that we have any fatalities amongst the sick." "Oh, no, Captain, not fatalities, but the sickness on board has spread. It's scurvy." The captain stood and gasped. "Yes, my captain, as we speak 12 of your men are infected, and in my opinion, before long they will not be able to work the cannons. Not only that, if they get infected, then they will not be able to work the sails." Now, the captain looked very troubled, and he began to mumble, "Scurvy, but how is this possible? It's only April the 2nd. We've only been at sea for 7 weeks. Oh, this is my worst fear. As you know, scurvy has killed more British soldiers than Spanish and French over the last 100 years. Lind replied, "We must find a way of keeping them alive until we reach Portsmouth, Captain. I have a request on behalf of the men. As you know, scurvy does not occur on land. Well, if only I knew a way to help them." "Well, what do you propose we do?" "I have 12 patients severely infected, with rotting gums and teeth falling out and spots on the skin. They're tired and they can barely walk. What if I change their diets? I will divide the groups of 12 into 6 pairs. All pairs will have the same hygiene conditions, and each pair will have the same breakfast, lunch and dinner, with an extra variation to supplement their diets. For example, one pair will get an extra quarter of cider per day, one pair will have an extra 2 oranges, and 1 lemon, and so on." Interesting idea. So, when do you want to start? Excitedly, Lind jumped up and went to start work immediately. "Slowly, James. Remember, this crew is the ship. Without them, The ship and her 50 guns is just a boat, a pile of scrap, metal, wood, ropes and canvas not worth anything. Fly to the unfortunates, and may you succeed. After 6 days, the captain called Lind to his cabin. Any development on the frontline attack of scurvy, Doctor? Are you as an effective physician as our fleet, dear James? I doubt that, sir, but some improvements can be seen. In the 2 sailors who drank the cider, there has been a slight improvement, but they're still weak and recovering. The rest of the pairs have no improvement whatsoever apart from the 2 who were given citrus. It's a miracle. Indeed it is. But can this miracle also transform them into being able to return to the sails? Oh, well, one of them already is, and the second is able to do some light work. It seems to me that oranges and lemons can help fight this nightmare that strikes the merchant navy. So give them citrus fruits. What a relief. I will return with my 350 men at the end of this trip and not 100. Captain, but there are no more citrus fruits apart from this one lemon and one orange. It's just not enough. Well, we will reach Portsmouth, and within a few days, then the sailors will rest. We will repair the sails and replace the deck whilst we're there. And when we get sailing again, there will be plenty of oranges and lemons. Well done, Doctor. Can I offer you a drink? As we're clean out of oranges and lemons, I suppose perhaps a cider might tickle your fancy. And so they celebrated with a drink. Lind's experiment resulted in a cure. His tests on the dozen sailors and his documentation of the disease scurvy was very useful indeed. Dividing the patients into 6 pairs and giving each of them a different diet proved his theory that nutrition and hygiene played an important part in fighting the disease. It was a trial of just 14 days, and Lind concluded that the consumption of oranges and lemons could cure scurvy, even if he did not fully understand why. And that's all we have time for today. So from me and him, bye-bye.